Hello and welcome. Sadly, last month actress-director Penny Marshall passed away. Penny Marshall is probably best known for her role as Laverne in the sitcom Laverne and Shirley, but she was also an established film director, directing such films as Big and A League of Their Own. Her directorial debut is also one of my all-time favorite movies, the 1986 action comedy Jumpin Jack Flash. So let's talk about it.
I'm sorry you got this involved.
I couldn't help it. I mean, the guy was all alone, you know. I didn't want to leave him out there. I mean, how often does a girl like me get involved with something like this? I mean, there it was on my computer screen, you know. And I was thinking to myself, Mr. Van Meter, you seem to be moving awfully quickly. Mr. Van Meter, are you trying to catch a plane, Mr. Van Meter? Mr. Van Meter!
Not only was this Penny Marshall's first directing gig, this was also Whoopi Goldberg's first starring role. Goldberg plays Terry Doolittle, an employee at a bank who does... She works on... Okay, to be honest, I don't really know what she does, but they explain it in the film.
How would you define your job here, Miss Doolittle?
To transfer funds and accept the transfer of funds between international banking establishments using the computer so that the transferred funds are more easily called upon.
So she basically communicates with other employees at other banks via instant messaging. Terry is great at her job, but her life is pretty mundane. That is until one day. The stranger says he needs her help, but their connection isn't secure.
Can't say anymore. This channel unsecured. Scramble for privacy. Give me your code key. Sing with me and find the key. Tomorrow, 7 p.m., I need you.
She assumes the key has something to do with the song, and after a few failed attempts, she figures out what the key is.
B flat. And you know I'm right. Yes! Kick the ass! Whoa! Get it! Get it! Get it!
Now that their connection is secure, Jack tells Terry why he contacted her.
What exactly is the situation? Trapped in Eastern Europe, need exit. What about your passport? Who are you, Jack? British intelligence?
Now Terry is on a quest to help Jack, putting her life in danger.
Obviously, somebody is trying to scare you into giving him Jack's code key.
Well, you're doing an awfully good job of it. Come on, Liz, who is it?
KGB, probably.
You little rascal, what you did to my sweater!
The KGB?
The film does have an action thriller tone to it, but at the end of the day, it's a comedy. And the humor ranges from witty dialogue
What the f*** are you running here, Wild Kingdom?
to over-the-top scenarios like having to crash the Queen's anniversary ball and then getting her dress caught in a paper shredder. The most over-the-top scene in the film is when the people who are after her catch her in a phone booth and use a tow truck to drag it down the streets of New York. This is probably the most polarizing scene in the movie. If someone doesn't like this film, they're probably going to spend most of their time complaining about this scene. And I get why a lot of people don't like it. It definitely goes into that surreal, airplane, naked gun style of humor.
Hey, it says don't clean your windows.
Don't wash the windows! Don't wash... Get me out!
But the overall film is so enjoyable, I can't help but like this scene too. Phone booth aside, this film has many great elements. For starts, the main premise of the film involves computers and what will eventually be known as the internet. And keep in mind, this is 1986. And it does actually age pretty well. Well, for the most part.
Yes! Kick the ass! Whoa! Get it! Get it! Get
Although I'm pretty sure what's happening on the screen is just in Terry's head. I can't imagine this happens every time she enters the password correctly. Basically what I'm trying to say is this film isn't overloaded with ridiculous computer tropes that age terribly. The film The Net comes to mind, you know, where Sandra Bullock orders dinner from pizza.net and then sits in front of the cozy fireplace screensaver. And like I said, this was Whoopi Goldberg's first starring role, and this film really shows her acting capabilities. All interaction with Jack is through the computer, but you really feel a relationship form between the two. There is a scene where she has to go to Jack's apartment and she hears his voice on the answering machine.
And if you'd like to leave a little message, that'd be good too. Okay, bye.
So that's what you sound like.
And from that point on, we as the viewers can hear his voice when they're communicating. But still, Whoopi's the driving force in this.
Do you want help or not? Because I've got better things to do than to save your butt, bud.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I will say that knowing the behind-the-scenes drama that went on during the production, I'm really impressed that this movie is as good as it is. This film switched directors during production, had at least 4 screenwriters, and apparently rewrites were so common they were just being done on the set. Usually when a movie has a production like that, the final product, well, it shows. But in Jumpin' Jack Flash, everything seems to more or less fall into place. I said more or less. A common thing in Whoopi Goldberg films is the fact that Whoopi only gets the role after the original actor intended for it either turns it down or drops out. For example, Sister Act was originally meant for Bette Midler, Fatal Beauty was meant for Cher, Burglar was meant for Bruce Willis, and just look what Whoopi has to say about her role in Ghost.
Oh, I'm getting ready to go to this audition. Every black woman and their mother has been out there trying to get this part. People have raised themselves from the grave to try to get this part. And I went, oh, and I called my agent and said, is there a reason I haven't heard about it, or should I not even think about it? And he said, well, they don't want you, actually.
She got the last laugh there, but Jumpin' Jack Flash is no exception. Before Whoopi got the part, the role of Terry Doolittle was originally meant for Shelley Long. Okay, for the record, I like Shelley Long, and I think she's a good actress, but my favorite thing about the character Terry Doolittle is how feisty she is.
Do you mean you're a civilian? You don't know anything about this, do you?
I don't know about this, except some guy calling himself Jumpin' Jack Flash taps into my computer, tells me I gotta go to his house and get a frying pan to call Van Halen, Van Morrison, I don't know, Van Mater.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Shelley Long couldn't pull that off, but I do have a feeling that if she did take this role, the final product would have been very different, because in the 1980s, there was really only one character Shelley Long was known for.
You don't like Sumner.
I don't like Sumner.
You know why you don't like Sumner?
Because he's goofy.
No. Because he's everything you're not. He's well-bred, he's highly educated, he's distinguished, he's urbane.
You left out goofy.
I did not leave out goofy.
Long is best known as the uptight, prissy Diane on the sitcom Cheers, and during this time, just about every role she had was some sort of variation of this character. And knowing how many rewrites Jumpin' Jack Flash went through, I really just think that Jumpin' Jack Flash was going to be a very different film. Shelley Long did end up making an action comedy of her own the following year called Outrageous Fortune, and surprise, surprise, her character is...
Listen to me. You do not audition for a man of Korzeniowski's reputation without a prepared classical monologue. That means Shaw, Ibsen, Shakespeare. I'm doing Ophelia's mad scene. I'm not waltzing in off the street saying, gee, I think I want to be an actress.
Outrageous Fortune and Jumpin' Jack Flash actually have a lot of similar elements.
Well, I paid $5,000 to study with the KGB. The KGB! Oh my God!
There's even a scene in both films where the character tries to explain to a thick-headed cop what's going on. And I think it's in this scene where you could really get an idea of what I think Jumpin' Jack Flash was originally going to be.
Have you been listening to us? The man in the morgue could not possibly be Michael Santers. All you have to do is look at his... If you were to look in the region If you were to look down.
Now compare that to Whoopi Goldberg as Terry Doolittle in Jumpin' Jack Flash.
I told you, I didn't fall in the river, I was thrown.
By your pimp, your John.
What is it with you people? Every time you see a black woman, it has to be a pimp or a John? What do you think, there's a lot of work down on the pier for hookers? You think I'm giving down there to goldfish?
Is she on some kind of medication?
Not that I know of. You want some kind of medication?
Marty, you know, you can talk directly to me.
I will quickly defend Shelley Long and mention that in 1990 she starred in a TV miniseries called Voices Within: The Lives of Trudy Chase, which is a true story about a woman with 92 different personalities. And this is really where you can see Shelley Long's acting range. So if you're interested, I recommend checking it out.
Get this straight, Stanley. Yeah, and you get it straight too. Only part of us married Norman, not the rest of us. Oh no. Being married means you are only a reflection of what your husband wants you to be. But we don't want to be a reflection of anyone. For any reason. Including the overrated, much advertised, happy ever after institution of marriage.
So there you have it. Jumpin' Jack Flash was a commercial success when it came out, but over the years it feels like it's just kind of been forgotten. And that's a shame because this is a great film. And it also has a really impressive cast. Aside from Whoopi Goldberg, this film also has Carol Kane, Annie Potts, Jim Belushi, John Lovitz, Michael McKean, Phil Hartman, Tracy Ullman. So what did you think? Have any of you seen Jumpin' Jack Flash? If you haven't, I highly recommend checking it out. Until next time.
Entrance.